ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here the ARCA restart zone to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Evening, race fans. The off season is over, and it is time to kick off a brand new season of Goat Locker Racing. Tonight, the drivers of the Alexander PC ARCA Series head to the World Center of Racing to take on the famous Daytona International Speedway. We've got 2 classes of drivers with our Pro-Am split that are going to be chasing that checkered flag tonight, hoping to kick off their season with a win. We're going to be bringing you all the action live right here on V-Speed. Thank you for tuning in and spending your Monday evening with us. My name is Daniel Cunningham, joined up here in the booth with co-commentator and producer Eddie Smith, pulling double duty tonight. And as always, those cameras courtesy of the legendary Dougie Beard. Eddie, we have got a full field of drivers here at Daytona this evening, ready to knock the rust off and get this season underway. How are you feeling heading into this race tonight?
I'm tickled pink, Daniel. I'm so excited to get this season going. The Goat Locker seasons, every time we switch over to a new one, it's just we're stepping up. This season, 11 different series. Each week, there's not enough days in the week to do all these series that we got going on. Tonight, it's all about the ARCA series. 2 races in 1. Who else does this? I don't know. But hey, look, we're at the East, so this is the ARCA East series. Make sure that if your driver is in the ARCA West, you don't see him in the ticker tonight. You go over on V-Speed and click the West link because you might be at the wrong race, but if you're at the right race, hey, we're happy to have everybody here. I just can't wait, Daniel. I'm so excited. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to see some racing at Daytona. It's been too long. 1-2 months without racing is just too much.
Yeah, it really has been, even though it seemed like the offseason flew by a little bit there at times just with the holidays and everything. But I'm with you. I am ready to get this series kicked off and underway here this evening. You know, we talked a little bit about that Pro-Am split there when we first came on the show. Some of you, maybe this is the first time you're watching the ARCA series here with Goat Locker. So we have 2 different classes out there on track at the same time tonight. We've got our Pro Series drivers and our AM Series drivers. So every night we're going to be covering both of those battles. They're all out there racing for the overall win, but they're racing against those drivers in their class, split kind of similar to what you would see in like a sports car series. But everybody's still out there trying to take that overall win. Going to have 2 different point standings, 2 different playoffs at the end of the season. And it just gives some of those drivers that maybe run a little bit more towards the back part of the top 10, gives them a little bit more exposure out there and a chance to bring home that win.
Yeah, no, this has been the coolest thing that's happened in Goat Locker. It definitely has spiced it up, made these races interesting. There's a couple things about this that I think is so nice. If you feel like I can't compete with the big dogs, these big guys that come in here, these fast drivers that come in and win every race, maybe I can't compete with them. Well, if you're in the amateur division, you're competing within your own division. So you don't have to win the race. You just have to beat the other one, similar to the way that it works in the playoffs in the Final Four championship race. So that just makes it so much more dynamic. There's so many things that can go right or wrong. It's just such a cool way of having multiple different skill levels in the same race, and it's proved to be very popular as we have 2 races in the same night, which is just unbelievable. And it's brought together some really cool races. You have 8 drivers racing for a championship, 4 drivers in each division at the end of the season. Been incredible. Every season it's been incredible since we've done that. It's just been a lot of fun. And tonight might be a chance for an amateur driver to win the overall race, which would be pretty cool. So, yeah, I love the GLR ARCA split Pro-Am. We've got East and West. I know it's confusing, but we got a lot of people that want to race in this series, and so we're really happy to be able to accommodate it, especially here on V-Speed.
Yeah, it's just really awesome to see just how popular this series has gotten, that we do have to have the East and West split. And I think we've got almost a full 40 drivers in both races here this evening. So a lot of drivers out there on track. While they're finishing up their qualifying run, let's take a quick look at tonight's race analysis, let you know what these drivers are going to be up against as they head into the season opener. 40 laps, pit road speed, 60 miles an hour. They got 4 sets of tires in the pits. I don't think you're going to need them. 2 green-white checkers, probably going to need those a little bit later on. 65% fuel, and as always, going to have 1 fast repair here for these drivers this evening. But as you can see up there on the ticker, these drivers have finished their qualifying run, and that means we've got a pole award to hand out. The first one of the season for the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They've been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. And your pole winner, first one of the season, your defending AM Series driver, Charles Abert, the champion from last season, is going to start on the pole. Benjamin Richards starting to his outside in P2. Rolling off on the second row, Joseph McWhorter starting in third. Michael Johns starting in the 4th position. Rolling off in the 5th spot tonight is going to be George Jewell with Samuel Yosef to his outside in the P6 position. Starting in 7th is going to be Michael Jones with Barrett Morton to his outside in 8th. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be Tyler Evans in 9th and Mark Cofield in 10th.
Daniel Selway Jr. going to start in the 11th with 12th. And Alan Smith, the last race of the year winner in the AM and a previous AM champion. Casey Jones going to start in 13th with Chance Taylor. Won the 50-50 race the other night, $420 richer. He's going to start in 14th in the number 14 machine. In 15th, Michael Kritzkowski. I don't know. I bailed on it. Daniel. I'm going to get it right. I'm going to try. But Jamie Lipke could have started in the 16th position. Claire Sisk going to start in 17th with Tom Howe in the 18th position. 19th, Tyler Gebbin with Jeremiah Holt in that 20th position.
Rolling off in 21st is going to be Tyler Tillman with Chase Barkis in the 22nd position. 23rd is going to be Nick Hummel with Patrick Fuller in 24th. Rolling off in 25th is going to be Andrew Carnes. Joshua Unger, one of our SimRig giveaway recipients, starting in 26th. Jesse Fox in 27th. Jonathan Lawless in the 28th position. And in 29th here this evening is going to be Edward Fedler with Christopher Heiner rolling off in 30th.
31st is going to be Curtis Long, Colton Sisk in 32nd. 33rd, Frederick Seagrave Jr. with Michael Lemieux in 34th. In 35th, Rob Kubat with Bill Molfeld in 36th. 37th, Bobby Whitley and Dakota Cole. Going to round out your field here tonight. Cars rolling, Daniel. We're getting ready to go green. First race of the season in the ARCA. Alexander PC's ARCA series. That's something that's changed. The sponsor has changed, and it's now Alexander PC. No surprise if you're a Goat Locker. You've been in around in Goat Locker. Alexander PC's incredible they call them a boutique. They build PCs for you, custom made. If you want something special, they even do a little etching on the glass, which I think is so cool. So definitely go check them out. And we're so happy to have Alexander PCs as the main title sponsor of this ARCA series. Well, Daniel, we're getting ready to go green, man. What do you think about this race? What's your thoughts as we get ready to take this green flag?
We've got a lot of new drivers to the series, a lot of familiar faces here this evening as well. We mentioned some of those past champions that are in the field, past AM division champions. And I'm just curious to see, with the season kicking off, how this mix of drivers will play together with this opening race. We know the super speedways can get chaotic. We know that the big one is always lurking around every turn, but none of that really matters right now to these drivers. It has been a month since the final race of last season, and they are ready to get out there and turn them back loose again as the drivers head to that extreme scoring restart zone. The initial green flag for the Alexander PC ARCA series is in the air. See here as the field starts down the back straightaway, that inside line already formed up a little bit better than what we see on the outside lane. Charles Abert able to clear through for the lead, but Joseph McWhorter now, he's going to jump up to the top side. They're already looking 3 wide at the front of the field on lap number 1.
Yeah, but I think McWhorter definitely thought, I could jump up there and lead that outside line as it was getting some steam after that first lap. It takes a little bit for that line to get moving. But he jumped out there, and I don't think Benjamin Richards had any thoughts of pushing him towards the front. And now they're going to be side by side, actually side drafting each other and pulling them back as now McWhorter all alone in that middle lane.
And Joseph McWhorter, you can see there over on the scoring pylon, currently right in that second or third position for the Pro Series, dropping back now just a little bit. Charles Abert, your current leader for the AM division, he is he's the overall race leader as well. But Joseph McWhorter here, he is the meat in the middle of the sandwich. He is falling back through this field at the moment, side by side with Barrett Morton. He's going to find a place to drop down there right in between Jamie Lipke and Jeremiah Holt, finally able to get back in line, but he has lost just a little bit of track position as a result of that move that did not work out for him.
Well, I mean, it's tales all the time in these super speedway races. You have to make the decision. You make a call, and sometimes it doesn't work, and that's what happens. It's best to do that early. So McWhorter is going to be able to do that early, fall back a little bit, kind of get shuffled towards the back, kind of make his way to the
wiggle
front.
There.
Yeah, so
that was a big wiggle out of Samuel Yosef. Sorry not to cut you off there, Eddie, but he did a great job of hanging on to that. Got a little bit of a bump draft in the middle of the turn there, and it definitely made the back end of that car step out. And Samuel Yosef, one of our drivers that does have his webcam here this evening, I'm kind of glad we didn't have it pulled up right when that moment happened. I know what my reaction is when things like that kind of happen whenever I'm in the car. But, with these cars, it seemed like some of the drivers were talking about in practice that they did not take bump drafts very well, which is something that's a little bit different from my previous experience with the ARCA car, maybe some updates that iRacing has made to it. It just seems like you can't get quite as aggressive with the pushing and the bumping as what you used to be able to in these cars.
You sounded a little bit like Bill Cosby there with the pushing and the bumping and the – but, so that's something to consider as they're going on. I mean, we'll take a look at the weather, what the weather is. The track temp's 110 degrees, so that shouldn't be really a factor to how the thing works. It just depends on – sometimes the setup is a little bit off, and, you try to build these things for speed. You want that spoiler to kind of be – the left rear spoiler to be out from you don't want it to kind of stick out, so you want to kind of lean to the right a little bit. And so that can make the car a little bit uneasy, especially when someone gets right on the back bumper, because you're not actually pushing a straight car. They're kind of yawed out a little bit. So you got to be careful. But, a lot of times, Daniel, it's all about who you're pushing. Sometimes you'll find somebody that can't take a push. They're all over the place. And then sometimes you find that one driver. I used to have a buddy of mine who you know very well, Samuel Yosef, almost went to the inside there in that middle lane. I had a buddy of mine, but you know very well, Jonah Colbert. And when we got together, we could do some really cool stuff on a plate track. So you have to find that right partner if you're going to do really good pushes here and try to get up towards the front. It looks like, honestly, Charles Aber and George Jewell are the right partner together because they have been hooked up all race long, and Charles Aber has been leading every single lap. So already starting off where he finished last season.
Yeah, we even saw it when we had the 50-50 race a couple weeks ago here at Daytona. Just a couple of guys get out front. It seems like they're working really well together. And, for whatever reason, sometimes it just clicks with a driver. You feel comfortable pushing someone, or you feel comfortable with having a certain driver push you. I know, Eddie, you probably used to get a little bit nervous whenever I was the one behind you at super speedways because I think I put you in the catch fence a time or two at Daytona or Talladega. So you definitely got to have somebody that you trust around you. But once we get down to the end of this race, your friends are kind of where you find them. Sometimes you just get stuck with the dance partner that you've got, and you got to find a way to make it work. As you can see, a big save there out of Michael Jones in that number 2 Red Bull car. He had that thing sideways and did a great job of hanging on to it as they're wrecking in the back of the pack. See, the 13 car is around. Didn't quite catch the other. I believe that is Josh Unger is the other car that is around there in the 51. No caution, though. Chase Marcus also caught up in that. No caution, though, as they spun off the racing surface and everybody able to get it back going. Let's take a quick look here on the V-Speed instant replay. This happened a little bit further back. Otherwise, that could have taken out quite a few cars. And, yeah, there was just a huge checkup there in front of Chase Marcus. He gets on the brake, or tries to get on the brakes, but just not a lot you can do in that situation.
Yeah, just one of those big checkups. You got to watch it. These cars, they punch a big hole in the air, but also when you lift off the gas, that big parachute that this spoiler and the way these cars kind of punch that big air, when you lift off the throttle, it's super draggy, and that car will just immediately stop like you hit the brakes. And that looks like kind of what was happening there. Somebody checked up a little bit. Chase just wasn't ready for it. You can see exactly what happens when a push goes wrong. Is up front, we got some movement as here comes the 9 of Barrett Morton to the outside. Looks like the 328 or 828 of Tyler Evans said, hey, we're not interested in pushing you. You go to the back. As now McWhorter all over the back bumper of Barrett Morton. Barrett Morton, somebody that I expect to see up front all night long.
Yeah, those are a couple of our Pro Division drivers leading that lane up there. Samuel Yosef in the AM Division just behind them, trying to make a little bit of headway here. And, we talked about you've got to have somebody that you feel comfortable with. Maybe 2 cars just work really well together for one reason or another. And it looked like Joseph McWhorter was able to give a pretty good push there to Barrett Morton through 3 and 4, down through the tri-oval. So, worked out a little bit better than we've seen some of these other pushes. But one other thing, even if you do find somebody that you can hook up with pretty well and make some ground, you've got to be careful to not overheat that car. I know you and I have both seen that happen time and time again at super speedways. Somebody stays latched on just a little too long. The next thing you know, you've got a motor that's grenaded in front of the field.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that. You see Daniel Selway going to jump up that outside line, then thinks better of it, drops back in, says, well, I guess not. Maybe just looking to see who this lap car is that they're coming up on. It looks like Dakota Cole must have had some sort of issue in that Save 2231 machine. So now they're going to have that. Oh, he's going to get
when they go 3 wide.
Daytona doesn't really allow for much there, but everybody does a great job, and he is able to get out of the way. And so now they're side by side. Yeah, something to think about is you can see Selway again jumps up to the outside, and Barrett Morton says no. So not playing that game. But one thing we'll talk about pushing, and you can see McWhorter pushing on that right rear quarter panel, or not really quarter panel, but the right rear bumper. That's kind of where you want to push. The scary part is off the corner, right there. You don't want to push there. And so there has to be a little bit of work that's done by the person that's doing the pushing, but also the person out front, that you help them get connected. You have to lift a little bit, drag your brake, and get connected at the right time. You want to get connected as soon as you guys drop off the banking down the back straightaway. You want to be locked bumpers. If you can push all the way down the back straightaway and then sort of lift on the entry to kind of let the car settle and then try to get back to them, whoever can do that the best is going to get up front pretty quickly. But Daniel, you can kind of see, even though they are working together really well, it is taking them quite a while to get back up towards the front and get to the front 2 cars of Jewell and Aber, who seem to be, just kind of controlling the field at the moment.
Yeah, George Jewell and Charles Abert up there in those first two spots, each leading their respective divisions. They're just working really well together. It seems like George knows when to back off of the 7 of Charles Abert. He kind of just lets the car cool off a little bit when he's got that opportunity, when the outside lane isn't really making a whole lot of ground. As they close up, as you can see there, Barrett Morton has now worked his way even with George Jewell for the second car in line there. It just seems like once they get to that point, that's when George will pull right back up to the back bumper of Charles, try to give another shove. But right as soon as we say that, here comes Barrett Morton with a push from Joseph McWhorter. He's doing a great job getting up there, trying to get that lead away from the 7 car. First time this evening we've really seen anybody challenge him.
Yeah, that has taken about 7 laps to get that done. So put that in your memory bank, how long it takes to get to the front on that outside line, even with some really great help in Joseph McWhorter. And you can see Barrett Morton trying to get down in front of Abert, just not quite able to do it. Now Abert's going to surge back ahead. If this is your first time watching a GLO ARCA series, take a look at the ticker. I'll explain a little bit real quick how that works. The pro side, that is your pro division, where they run in the pro division. In the amateur, you can see who leads that. And Barrett Morton on the outside of that top row is your pro leader. And then Abert down on the leading, that bottom line is leading your amateur. So you'll see that kind of fluctuate as the race goes on. You can see the full ticker here that kind of shows where everybody's running overall. But we'll leave this up so you'll know who's in the lead of what division. Because I know it can be a little confusing the first time seeing this going, what? But that's how that works. So while Abert and Morton don't have to win the race, they sure do want to.
Yeah, absolutely. You do not have to win the race to win your division. If you win your division, you still lock into the playoffs by way of that win. But, it just feels so much better if you can get that overall win. And we have seen that before with this split where, especially at these super speedways, those AM drivers can get up there and take not just the division win, but the overall win. Still a tall order, though, as you can see now. Both Morton and McWhorter have cleared Charles Abert for the lead. They both dropped down in front of him. That is going to put the 65 of Samuel Joseph now as the lead car on the outside lane. He is getting a huge shove from Daniel Selway there.
Oh, they're wrecking.
They're wrecking, and they're going to pull back up into the track. The 72 of Joseph McWhorter went right back up into traffic. Nothing he could do there, just along for the ride with the hook. But that is going to bring out our first caution of the race here on lap number 15. And that could have actually taken out a lot more drivers given where that wreck started. But let's take a look here on the V-Speed Instant Replay. And you talked about it, Eddie, just those shoves can go wrong so quickly. Samuel Joseph gets shoved, gets loose.
And Abert.
Good grief. I didn't even see that. Abert up into the catch fence on the front straightaway.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, funny enough, and Daniel Selway, I could see him down the back straightaway. Actually going to back it up a little bit here on the V-Speed Replay. And Selway here was wiggling quite a bit as he was pushing Samuel Joseph. You're going to see right here as these two up front drop down, you're going to see Selway kind of wiggling here as they're trying to stay on the back bumper, and unfortunately, as they get to that one spot I was talking about, right off the corner. Got to be careful where you push there, and that's exactly what happened. And there's nothing that Samuel Joseph or McWhorter could do there.
Yeah, and we've talked about how difficult it is to push on corner exit, and the exit of 4 is a little bit more sketchy than the exit of 2. The track flattens out just a little bit more, a little bit quicker off the exit of 4. The car just gets so light through there. It's so hard to maintain that. But this is going to open the pit stop window for these drivers to come down pit road and use a fast repair for a few of them. They do have that one fast repair in their back pocket that they can use in this race. So even if you're somebody like Charles Abert that was upside down in the catch fence, he's not out of it. He's still going to be able to get in there, get the damage fixed, and continue on in this race. Barrett Morton was the overall race leader after that wreck, after that incident. So he'll be the one that'll be taking control here, as it looks like, I don't believe anybody stayed out on that caution. The entire field of lead lap cars did elect to come down and take their pit stop.
Yeah, obviously fuel going to be a concern, and a lot of people just doing fuel only, maybe right sides, 4 tires for a few folks. That I don't think tires is going to really matter at all. A lot back in the day when the track was a real bumpy and handling was a lot more important. I think that tires were a big deal here at this track. It was a lot more abrasive, but since the repave, quite a few years ago now, but it's still super smooth, and it just handling is not as big as it maybe will be in the next 10 years as it continues to wear. So all fuel only for the most part. A couple folks taking tires, and if you're trying to just hang around at the back, we saw sort of a separate group we hadn't really talked about yet, but kind of hanging around waiting for that wreck to happen. They might want to take 4 tires and kind of roll on to the back.
That is certainly a strategy that you can use here at Daytona with these super speedway races. And some of that may have been kind of born out of necessity with that early incident that did not bring out a caution, kind of breaking the field up just a little bit. But you'll see some drivers that'll ride around near the back of the pack, just try to avoid the mess as it happens. So that is definitely a strategy that some of these drivers will employ as we continue to pace here under caution. Something that we did talk about earlier was we mentioned those SimRig recipients, the SimRig giveaways that Goat Locker does. And part of that is possible because of one of our great league sponsors that we have. That's the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. And Eddie, you were talking about them a little bit earlier before we went live on the air, that they actually provide the grant that goes towards giving away those SimRigs.
Yeah, and Go Locker applies for that grant. They have to go through a selection process, and they've done it for a couple years now. And Go Locker is based out of Indiana, or not Indianapolis, but Indiana, and exists to serve the veterans of Indiana through this grant. So all this grant money goes to support veterans in Indiana, and that's why the SimRigs that have been given to these veterans and first responders have been out of the state of Indiana, and it's all thanks to these folks right here. They have graciously given a grant to be able to allow Goat Locker to do all this and have the funds available. That if you don't know anything about Goat Locker, you might think we're just a racing league who has 11 series a week this season. But Goat Locker has a whole another nonprofit side that works in real life to improve veterans' lives, immersion therapy for vets who are out of the service. Obviously dealing with all kinds of emotions, not just, certain ones from combat, but also just adjusting back to regular life outside of once your service is done. That's so difficult for a lot of vets. And so, just incredible work what these guys do, just unbelievable. And without the grant that they provide, Go Locker, we wouldn't be able to do half the things that we do. So we're super, super thankful to the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs.
Absolutely. It is a huge benefit to have them on board. Appreciate everything they do. As we get ready to go back green here, field in control with Barrett Morton, your pro leader, Mark Cofield, your AM leader, they are on the front row as we head to the extreme scoring restart zone. Green flag is in the air. You could actually see a little bit of wheel spin there out of Michael Jones in the 2 car as they get back rolling. Field keeps it together. Mark Cofield, like he's got a little bit of momentum up there on the top lane, trying to get that lead away on this restart.
Yeah, and we saw the outside line not really get the kind of jump that it needed to get last time. It kind of faded for a while. So we'll see if they can get the numbers they have them, if they can get connected. But right now, Barrett Morton's in a great spot, controlling the race, probably telling Michael Jones there in the 2 machine, hey, come on, let's go. Let's get connected. Don't let Mark Cofield get in front of me. Now, I do think Cofield and Morton probably going to be working together. So, if a great strategy, Daniel, is control both lanes. If you're on the same team, control both lanes. Don't let one of you get ahead and you don't get shuffled to the back. Great example is Charles Aber, who was leading the whole first part of the race. Barrett Morton was able to get out in front. He got shuffled to the back, was involved in that wreck. So staying out front is one of the safest places to be at a super speedway, or maybe down in a garage, one of the 2.
And even better if you're teammates and you're in opposite divisions like Mark Cofield and Barrett Morton are.
Yeah,
so you don't even necessarily need to race back for the overall win. If you can find a way to control both of these lanes, you could say, hey, we could just sit here and control this. We can both come home with a division win. And you know what? We can just bring 2 trophies back to the shop here this evening. But take a look here, that 34 car on the outside lane, that is Casey Jones. He was giving a pretty big shove there to Mark Cofield, trying to find his way up to the front, but now he's going to drop down to the bottom. He's going to ditch that top lane. That's going to allow Alan Smith now to close up and try to get that outside lane going.
Yeah, I think Mark Cofield plenty happy with what just happened there. Now it's going to work out in his favor as Alan Smith and the GLR. I mean, it's GLR now. It used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's a GLR scheme now in that 00 out front, or not out front, but trying to get up front. He's right behind Mark Cofield. He is a past AM champion. He's a multi-time amateur race-winning driver and has found his way up to the front. Started in 12th, and now up to 4th. So making his moves to the front. Jeremiah Holt right behind him. So Daniel, I think I don't know. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? There seems to be a lot of Bandits guys up front.
There does indeed seem to be quite a few Bandits Motorsports drivers up there. You've got on that bottom lane, you've got Barrett Morton. On the top lane, you've got Mark Cofield, Alan Smith, and Jeremiah Holt sneaking up into the picture. He's that third car in line up on the top side. So you are 100% correct here. These Bandits drivers are finding their way to the front of this field and trying to take control of this race. But, hey, that is part of the game here at Super Speedways. If you can hook up with your teammates and you can work with those drivers, you're all in the same chat together, you're able to communicate a lot better. It makes it so much easier to try to get things going here at Super Speedways. As you can see, Barrett Morton getting a huge shove there from the two of Michael Jones, and actually kind of got him down right on that yellow line, maybe even just a little bit below it. Going to allow Mark Cofield to take the overall lead on that lap. Thought he might drop down and try to lead up that bottom lane, but he's going to stay up on the top for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably my favorite thing about Super Speedway racing. Super Speedway racing has a lot of issues, a lot of frustrating things about it. But if you have teammates, if you have multiple, like 3 to 5 teammates, it can make the race so much easier because you guys control so much. And if there's green flag pit stops, being able to pit with 4 or 5 other guys is a massive, massive advantage. Here on iRacing, the amount of cars need to be in a draft is anywhere between 3 and 5. 5 is probably your maximum. Outside of that, you kind of get diminishing returns as far as how well the draft works, even running nose to tail. So, but if you can get 5 guys or gals lined up nose to tail after a green flag pit stop, you can really put a hurting on your competition. So teamwork is so much fun. Getting in Discord, sitting around in your team chat, talking about what you're going to do, what lap we're going to pit, what do we need to do. Like right now, I'm sure the conversation is Barrett's saying, hey, just control that top line. And Cofield's like, yeah, I'm going to stay up here. We're going to control both lanes, and there's nothing anybody can do. We already saw McWhorter try to go through the middle. He went to the back. So a lot of control that can happen up here, and they're doing a great job of it.
And sometimes when you're in these packs working with teammates, you might not even be talking about the race. We used to have karaoke hour during some of these Daytona and Talladega races. So you just never know what the conversations are, especially if you know you're good to go to the end on fuel. You don't have to worry about pit strategy. I mean, hey, why not belt out your favorite tune while you're in chat? It might get you muted by some of your teammates, but, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, that's a good way to not know when your pit is if you do a little bit of karaoke. Depends on how good you are at karaoke, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Daniel, if we're riding along right now, we're just chilling, what song are you singing if you're doing a little bit of karaoke in the car right now?
That all depends on which direction my ADHD decides to go that day. It could be, we could be listening to some 2000s emo music, taking me back to my middle school days. It might be Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold. It might even be some, Hardy or Morgan Wallen. It's hard to tell knowing me.
Yeah, I don't know. Share It's Raining Men sounds like a pretty good tune to do while you're in the car, while you're racing around a bunch of drivers. You never know. Something that can make everybody laugh, kind of break the ice. That seems like one I would go with. But right now, I mean, Barrett Morton out front leading the way. Michael Jones sitting there in that second position, and we talk about where you want to be in a plate race. I don't think there's any place that's safe. I think there's just parts on the track where you're safer. And out front, obviously, is one of the safest places, but we've seen a bad push. You see Chance Taylor going a lap down. A bad push could send you from the lead all the way into the inside wall. So one of my favorite places to be is where Michael Jones is right there in that number 2 machine. Second in line, you have all of the power. You control everything right here. You can push the 2
they're
up
getting
there.
together a little bit back behind this. The 12 of Claire Sisk was involved. There was another driver. I couldn't quite make out the car number. Everybody continues on. No caution is out on the speedway, but that has scattered quite a few drivers. It looked like Samuel Joseph was caught up in that as well. So we go back and take a quick look on the replay. Oh, that was the 14 of Chance Taylor that was caught up in that as well. The driver that had just gone a lap down. We saw that earlier where things just get really tight when you catch that driver putting them a lap down going 3 wide. And that has broken the field up quite a bit here, but no caution on the speedway.
Yeah, Claire, obviously some sort of mechanical issue, not able to keep up with the pack. It has a meatball flag, and if you don't know what that is, that's iRacing saying you got to come in and pit. The damage is too much. You can't make it. You got to keep going. If you don't pit, you get a black flag and you get disqualified. So Claire says going to have to come down pit road. Michael Lemieux going to have to come down as well and get that fixed up. Such a bummer to have that happen under green flag conditions with no caution. Great job of not wadding up the field, but they're going to pay for it here as they're all going to have to come down pit road and get that fast spare. Luckily, all 3 of these drivers, besides Chance Taylor, so all 2 of them, have their fast repair. As you can see, Chance Taylor says, I'm out of here with the whole wheel hanging off the thing. So
not a lot you can do when the wheel is no longer attached to the car as it should be. You could visually see it there on that replay with just how badly damaged that car was. So yeah, definitely unfortunate for those drivers to get caught up in that, especially with Chance not having that fast repair to use anymore. But at least for the drivers that do still have that fast repair, if they can, if you can catch a caution, maybe get a lap back, you can still find a way to salvage something out of the day today, but definitely not an ideal situation.
Yeah, we're getting down to the end of this thing. I mean, it's a tough time for that to happen because they're going to go down a lap most likely. Claire is, currently 1 lap down. And so we're down to just 12 laps to go, Daniel. This thing is flying by. I think the admins thought that you put 2 divisions of drivers together and the ARCA series, there's going to be a caution fest. And so far, incredible job by all the drivers so far to keep it together. Only 1 caution as we're getting down to almost 10 laps to go in this race. I can't believe that it's almost over. And then while I'm looking back here, this little second pack that's back here riding, and there's even another one back there. They may be in trouble if they don't get that caution that they're looking for.
You're correct. And that secondary pack, you kind of mentioned that 5 to 6 drivers is right what you need to be able to make some really good time. They have 6. I was going to say, can I count? Yeah, they have 6 drivers in that pack. I had to look again. I thought it might have been more than that for a second. But if they could get lined up single file and keep that group tight together, they could get up there and catch that main pack. The main pack does have more cars, but they're running side by side. They're going to be side drafting, slowing each other down. But you can see they're just not set together. They're offset. They're not able to maintain that single file formation. And I mean, some of them may have a little bit of damage, but if they can really get linked together and just stay single file, they'll be able to get up there and mount a challenge with this lead pack, despite only having 10 laps left.
Oh, they were almost a second faster last lap, so I think they heard you, and they've been getting on with it, because right now Charles Abert all over the back bumper, and we can see all up in the undercarriage of Andy Carr. It's gross, but you could see that they have already caught the pack, and they are running them down. So you're absolutely right. I think they felt the tide change on the race itself, getting to 10 laps to go, and they are running them down quickly. But right now it's all about, can they make it on fuel, which they pitted 14, 15 laps ago. So do they have 10 more laps of fuel? That's the question I have. First off, can they make it on fuel? And you can see that second pack is now caught up to the main pack. So they would have been able to get it done. So right now it's all, we're getting down in it, Daniel. I'm surprised how fast this is going, but 9 laps to go in this race. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Inside of 10 laps to go, the heat is definitely turning up. Going to get that fire started on this race to see who is going to win. And speaking of fire, let's go ahead and shout out a league sponsor real quick. MK Fire Designs.
Nice.
At MK Fire Designs, they believe every hero's story deserves to be etched in wood from the thin red line to every branch of our military. They craft custom, handcrafted flags that honor service, sacrifice, and pride. Honor your sacrifice today at mkfiredesigns.com. Every flag has a story. What's yours? We appreciate their support here at Goat Locker.
Well, a few laps to go in this thing, and it just seems to be the status quo at the moment. I figured we're getting under 10 laps to go, we'd start to see more push to get up to the front, but I still see a lot of gaps between drivers. So I'm a little surprised by that. We don't see anybody being a little bit more aggressive to try to get up to the front. Now, the pack is not huge, by the way. I mean, there's only about 20 drivers in this main pack, but I would expect to see at least a few drivers trying to be aggressive here and get up towards the front. They're running out of time.
The one driver that I'm really interested to see, how are they going to handle these last handful of laps, is at 72 of Joseph McWhorter. He was a driver that was in the championship for the Pro Division last season. I've raced against him here in Goat Locker quite a few times. He is absolutely not content to ride back here. He is always fast. He's always competitive. His yellow flag is out on the speedway. The main pack, everything calm up here. Incident a little further back, possibly the 51 there of Josh Unger caught up in that, as we see him on the pit lane currently. But that is going to set us up for a late race shootout here. Inside of 10 to go. It's going to be inside of 5 to go once we get back going. Take a look on the B-Speed instant replay here of what may have happened with the 51, and really see anything. They're just coming down pit lane.
I have no idea. I don't have anything that says somebody.
The 66 of Edward Fiedler does have. That is indeed where the incident was. With the missing front end of that car. Oh, gets into another driver there. I believe that is the 44 that we're seeing that he got into.
And who's in the 44?
And that is a fantastic question. That is Mike Krakowski in the 44 car.
Yeah, they were running back towards the 30th position, and just a little bit of maybe communication between those two. But wow, what a development here. Did you see Samuel Joseph and Claire Sisk? Holy shit. Wow.
Claire Sisk taking evasive maneuvers there to
Watch
be able to get around that. We got to take a look at this onboard here from the 12 of Claire Sisk. Just try to ride along, mind her own business here. Oh, yeah, it's clear up top. No, wait, no, it isn't. There is a car sitting broadside in front of me. And, that could have been ugly if she wouldn't have sacrificed the own car going up into the wall there. So that could have sent somebody to the hot dog stand there, Eddie.
Oh, that's a Code Brown moment if I've ever seen one. And man, I don't know. I don't know what everybody's thinking here. I don't know if we'll see if they can't make it on fuel. They're obviously going to pit now, and that's a question that I had. So I guess we'll find out here. But I don't know if anybody's going to come down pit road. Anybody
pit
come
lane
on?
Should be open, and we see a few drivers. Yeah, Barrett Morton, the Bandits drivers coming down pit road here. Most of these drivers are going to hit pit lane. There are a few that do decide to stay out here, and I gotta wonder, Eddie, maybe they're good to go to make it to the end, but not a green-white checker. We do have the possibility of two of those, and that's a strategy that I will sometimes use here at super speedways, where if I know that I can't make it to the end, if there's more than one green-white checker, I'll go ahead and bring it down pit lane. You can actually see riding on board here with our current race leader. He's got that thing clutched. You can see the RPMs dropped all the way down to 300 there on the digital dash. He's got it clutched. He's probably got it fully shut off, actually, riding around here under caution, saving fuel. So these guys must have been a lot closer than what we thought they were on fuel here.
Yeah, I mean, you're not saving fuel like this unless you're worried how close you might end up being, and that's always nerve-wracking for the whole field, because if you run out of fuel leading by 2 seconds at Michigan, nobody really cares. They just drive right on by you. But when you run out of fuel leading 30 other drivers at Daytona, it can be real, real bad. So, we've got about it looks like about 9 drivers who have elected to stay out. So the question is, how much fuel did they save? How much do they have left? And can they get to the end? And, if you're Barrett Morton and those guys who came down pit road, they are good to go on fuel, but they got to go all the way from 10th to 1st. And we've already seen that it's been very, very difficult to get by a bunch of drivers. So, I mean, this is a huge, huge development as far as the end of this race. And, the way things go in these races, these last 5 laps could take longer than the whole race combined.
And one thing to consider, too, here is Barrett Morton and Mark Cofield were leading their lanes the entirety of that green flag run. So they're out front, putting the hole in the air, burning more fuel, whereas some of these other drivers running a little bit further back, you can feather the throttle, you can lift a little bit, you're able to save a little bit more. So It's possible that had we gone green to the end, that Morton and possibly even Mark Cofield, they may not have been able to make it to the end. And they were just hoping for this caution.
Well, and we were talking about how quickly Andrew Carnes and Charles Aber were able to catch up to the field. It makes you wonder now if maybe the leaders weren't, actually saving fuel out front. You know what I'm saying? They may have been trying to save a little fuel because they were almost a second off of that other pack. So, it seems like they knew they couldn't make it. And, if Barrett Morton comes down pit road along with those guys all together, it makes me think that you can't make it. Why would you pit? I mean, you might go for a green, white checker, but, there's no guarantee you're going to get one of those. So I'm really concerned with these guys that have stayed out, if they can make it, and just how much they were able to save. Is it going to be enough?
It is certainly going to be an interesting question, as we will have 4 laps to go once we go back green. While we do have this opportunity, going to give another quick shout out to one of our league sponsors, and that is Nasty's Bar and Grill. On March 21st of 2012, they opened their doors in Hilliard, Ohio. From the get-go, they aim to embody the energy and passion their sons Nathan and John poured into their dreams. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured that every guest received exceptional food and service. They've hosted numerous fundraisers in their establishment with the goal of raising funds to donate a sim rig to a deserving veteran or first responder. We certainly appreciate all of their support here at Goat Locker as well. But folks, this is the time that all these drivers are going to be up on the steering wheel trying to find a way to get up to the front of this field. We have got 4 laps to go once we go back green here in the season opener at Daytona. The field in control of the 2 of Michael Jones. He's your AM division leader. He is the overall race leader as well here. Pace car going to make the turn on the pit road as they head to that extreme scoring restart zone. And we are going to settle who's going to win the season opening race here. Green flag is back out in the air, and we are underway for a shootout here at Daytona.
Michael Jones with a huge jump as he has no help, and that's not good at all for him. He's just a sitting duck at this point. As soon as they start to get a little bit of momentum, as Tyler Evans going to drop down to the inside and take over the bottom spot, going to get a huge push, and he actually lifts for Michael Jones. And you can see the scoring pylon right now. Frederick Seagraves in that 4th position. He is the leader of the Pro Division at the moment with George Jewell 2 spots back. And Barrett Morton already up to the 4th lane. He's going to jump up to the outside, not waiting at all as they're trying to squeeze him into the wall there, Daniel.
Oh, Barrett Morton up to the top groove. He's got his teammate Alan Smith behind him. He's looking 3 wide as they go through turns 3 and 4. Mark Cofield close behind as well. We'll see if he follows up. Morton and Smith have a huge run as they're starting to wreck behind. So 382 goes through the grass, or 392, excuse me. They're also wrecking right behind in the tri-oval. No caution as of yet. We are still under green.
Oh!
Morton, oh no, he almost gets hooked by Alex Smith.
There
He
they
saves
go.
it, but they're wrecking behind. The big one in turns 1 and 2 at Daytona with 3 laps to go.
Oh, massive wreck. It started, I think, with a bad push for the 97. It looks like Mark Cofield all tore up. Multiple drivers. The big one indeed. As we'll go back and see what happened there. But that was, I mean, you could just feel it, Daniel. It was getting ready to happen. The wreck had already happened behind them. And not really sure yet. See, Alan Smith clipped the 99, and I think Cofield just kind of lifts a little bit to try to miss that. We'll back it up just a little bit so we can see exactly what happened. But you're going to see the double alt get to that right rear quarter and almost wreck him. You see the 97 has to check up, moves down into the 56, and then there's just nothing you can do after that. It's just like you're getting hit by AIM-9 missiles.
And they were 4 wide momentarily there in turns 1 and 2. We talked about 3 wide is hard enough to pull off here at Daytona, let alone that 4 wide, that little bit of offset that they had. And really, I mean, you called it. Once Barrett Morton had to lift to save that car and Alex Smith lifted to try to keep off of him, that was pretty much what did it. From there, the rest of the field is just trying to do evasive maneuvers, and just didn't quite work out. And that tore up quite a few drivers. Just taking a look at our timing and scoring, I see Daniel Selway has a meatball flag, Charles Aber, Tyler Gebbin, Mike Krakowski, Jamie Libke. I saw her right front tire was, I mean, just dangling off of that car earlier. All those drivers with meatball flags currently, and even taking a look at the 00 there of Alan Smith, he's got some pretty hefty damage on the right front of his car. The 72 of Joseph McWhorter, he's got damage on the front and rear, pretty substantial damage, and he had to use a fast repair earlier in the race. He does not have that available. It's going to take him out of contention. That wreck right there has ended the night for a few drivers that already had to use that fast repair.
Well, and I'll tell you who really might have ended their night is for Michael Jones, who did not want to see that, obviously. Barrett Morton had done a great job of getting up through the pack and getting up to the lead. And, I mean, they were pushing really, really hard. And you can see Michael Jones can't decide what he wants to do. Going to fake down. He's going to come down pit road, but he's going to elect to stay out. And, golly, if you were nervous about making it to the end, now you have a green-white checkered. You're actually going to go a few more laps, but Daniel, they're under caution. So, it's the most frustrating thing because, every time you get a green-white checkered, you add a couple more laps that you wouldn't have had to go. And so now we're clicking over to lap 40. So then he's going to have to go to lap 43 or 44 because we're not even doubled up yet. So can Michael Jones make it on fuel? Can Tyler Evans make it on fuel? That's sort of the question that I have right now is are they going to be able to make it to the end of it? That's really kind of up in the air.
And just taking a look here at the drivers that did not pit on either this caution or the previous one. You mentioned Jones and Evans. Frederick Seagraves and Andrew Carnes also have not pitted. So they're currently 24 laps on this tank of fuel. And yeah, I mean, you're right. You're using less fuel being under caution, but now with this extending to a green-white checker, I have some major concerns about those drivers that have not pitted on either of these 2 most recent cautions and whether or not they will be able to make it to the end of this race. And it's such a difficult decision to make. If you're Michael Jones, you kind of feel like your bet has been made. You've stayed out on the previous caution. You got the track position. You're in control of the race. But if you're going to pit, if you know you can't make it, this would have been the time to do it. There were so many drivers that were going to have to come down, take their fast repair, get damage fixed. If you get another green-white checker and you can't make it, then you're really behind the 8 ball. Whereas with this one, you would have yielded at least less track position had you come down pit road this time. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think if you have any shot of making it, the calculations that you're able to see now, they can't see exactly how many laps they can go, but he can see how much fuel he has in his tank left. And also, if you have there's a few programs out there that can do some calculations based on your fuel usage. And so you can kind of get close. Ovals are a little bit different. So it just depends on which one he's using. So he kind of can know how far he can make it. It's just a question of are we going to get another green-white checker? I think if you were going to pit, now was the time. So he feels confident that he can make it to the end because you're right. You would have pitted right there and lost a little bit of track position because now if you pit on the next green-white checker, you're absolutely not going to have any track position. So, I don't know, man. It's sometimes when you want to win these things, it's all about gambling. It's all a gamble, and I like to see this type of gambling. Like, it makes it exciting as hell for us. That's for sure.
And if there's one thing that I have learned in my time up here in the broadcast booth, I have learned to not question the guys holding the steering wheel when it comes to pitch strategy. There's been so many times where I've thought there ain't no way in hell this driver's making it to the end of this race on fuel. just for them to turn around and prove that there's a reason why I'm up here instead of out on the track. So I'm going to trust the 2 car here. And even if he is looking on the iRacing black box, it will tell you how many laps you have left of fuel. But that number you can't always trust. If he was riding around saving fuel, it may tell you you've got 3 laps of fuel left. You think, sweet, I'm good for a green, white checker. But when you're going full throttle, suddenly that number drops to a lap and a half, and you're scrambling to figure out, well, how am I going to make it back around to the end? So it is definitely going to be something to watch here. If the 2 has enough fuel to make it to the end, another thing to watch is 3 of our top 5 right now, actually 4 of our top 5 rather, are in that AM division. Barrett Morton, the only pro driver in the top 5 overall. We have got just 2 laps here to settle it as the drivers approach that extreme scoring restart zone. Field in control of Michael Jones in the 2. Green flag is back in the air, and we are going for a green-white checker shootout to decide the season opening winner.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. Can Michael Jones make it on fuel? But Barrett Morton now getting to the back bumper. Barrett Morton is now in that position that I talked about earlier. He's got all the power in the world. Now, Tyler Evans right behind him. Who does Tyler Evans go with?
See the 51 cars around. Daniel Selway in the 61. He is involved as well. Big damage on those 2 machines, and the yellow flag is back out yet again. That is 100% not what Michael Jones wanted to see with that caution. Let's take a look here on the V-Speed instant replay. Just a little bit of 3 wide back here, and just wrong place, wrong time there. The 61 of Selway looked like he was trying to give a shove to that 83 machine, but just a little off center, catches him in the left rear. And that was all she wrote for that one.
Yeah, on board with him. We'll watch this. He's just trying to get up to the front. We saw he actually was a part of that incident earlier in the race. You can see pushing the 1, then goes up to the outside, just trying to find a way through. Not even up to gear yet. 63 kind of moves up the track a little bit, and Daniel Selway, all gas, no brakes there, and that's what happens. So, bummer for those drivers, but Selway involved in a couple incidents tonight with bad pushes. Well, we know that Michael Jones can't make it.
Yeah, he did indeed have to make his way down pit road. He said, that's all I got in the tank. I've got to bring it down. And, we basically said he needed it to go green there. It did not work out in his favor, but I'm with you. I like it. I like the strategy play. I like giving it a shot. You never know how it may work out. If we would have went green to the end, he was going to look like a genius. I think Barrett Morton would have given him a run, but, honestly, the AM division was his to lose at that point. So you got to try it.
Yeah, right now, in the top 8, there's 6 amateur drivers. So really good showing for the AM division. Tyler Evans currently leading that with Michael Jones coming down pit road. Frederick Seagraves and Tyler Evans still on that same pit strategy that Michael Jones was on. So Michael Jones says, I'm out. I can't do it. But Tyler Evans in the 828, somebody that's new to the league, started in 9th position, been running up here after that pit cycle where they did that strategy. And now the question is, can they make it? And, if you're Barrett Morton, you're tickled. You're just you can make it on fuel. And it looks like Frederick Seagrave says, I ain't going to make it. Brings the 93 down pit road. So that leaves Tyler Evans, the only driver out there on that tank of fuel. So I'm starting to feel like he's not going to make it, considering that both those drivers came down pit roads. We should get the one to go. No, we didn't. So we're going to go another lap. So.
Well, and here's the thing now, if you're Tyler Evans, you may be praying for that quick caution. And with this next one, this is the final attempt at a green-white checker. So if you're not familiar with how this will work, if you're watching along, maybe this is the first time you've ever seen this, now that we are on the final attempt, if a caution comes out on this first green flag lap after we go back green, that's it. The field is going to be frozen. The race is essentially over. He can shut it off. He can clutch it. He can coast. And he's just got to make it back around to the checkered flag at that point. If we do end up taking the white flag, then it is game on from there. There's not going to be any cautions. We're not freezing the field like you may see in real life. We are racing back to checkers, but a quick caution may allow him to save what he needs to potentially hang on for the AM win.
Yeah, and one important distinction you made there is if the caution comes out early, he still has to make it to the checkered flag. So I don't know, for Tyler Evans right now sitting in a great spot, but there's so many questions out there. Has he saved enough? Obviously he is. I mean, you can see the gap that he's got back to Barrett Morton. While if he was an actual NASCAR, he would actually get black flagged for this. They have to maintain pace speed, and he would actually lose positions to those behind him. Obviously not as strenuous, but I don't see him saving. I don't see him clutching or anything here.
Yeah, that is a bold strategy. For the fact that we have seen everybody else that was on his same strategy has already come down pit road, I would think you would at least be clutching, if not fully shutting this car off, to try to save as much fuel as you possibly can. And you're right. I mean, if this was real life, he would be black flagged for that gap that you see to Barrett Morton, your overall race leader. But again, this is iRacing. iRacing is not as strenuous on that. They don't black flag for that reason, but it's definitely going to have to break the lead out here and catch up, as the field is going to be double file getting ready for this final restart of the night.
Daniel, I can tell you one thing. I can tell you, if I know what I know and I'm in that 00, there is not a chance in this world I'm pushing the 828. I think that's to be the biggest thing that Tyler's going to have working against him, is people know that he's in trouble with the fuel. So I am just concerned that he's going to be in trouble no matter what, because I think everybody's going to be worried about him running out of fuel. And if I'm Alan Smith, if I'm Mark Cofield, there's no way I'm pushing that 828, because you're just going to end up in a big trouble if that happens and runs out.
And I'm going to be completely honest with you here, Eddie. I'm a little bit surprised that Barrett did not take the top lane. The leader gets restart lane choice in this series. And you look behind that 828 car, he's got a teammate in Alan Smith, a teammate in Mark Cofield, and a teammate in Jeremiah Holt. You could have 4 drivers from the same team lined up on that top lane, knowing that the guy on the inside may run out of gas right after the green flag. So you could almost guarantee a clean sweep of the overall podium at that point, depending on how things play out. But again, I'm up here in the booth. I'm not the one that's down there calling the Ferrari pit strategy for the Bandits team here this evening. So we'll see how this plays out for them, and see if the 828 of Tyler Evans does indeed have enough fuel to make it back around for these next 2 laps here at Daytona. See, lights are off on the iRacing pace car, going to be making that left-hand turn onto the pit lane. And Barrett Morton will be bringing the field into that extreme scoring restart zone. This is it. This is your chance. Hold the belts tight and get these things wound up. Green flag is in the air, and we are back racing for the final restart here at Daytona. And you can see Barrett Morton with a huge jump. Tyler Evans does get rolling. He has still got some fuel in that machine, but Barrett Morton, he is out to a huge lead. Not necessarily what you want here at Daytona.
Well, look at Alan Smith and Mark Cofield immediately getting locked bumpers. They're going to have a huge run off of turn number 2. Barrett Morton not locked on the bumper with Tyler Evans. Tyler Evans going to go up and block, and they're going to push him, make contact with the wall. And now Alan Smith to the back bumper of the 828. Barrett Morton, though, on the inside with Patrick Fuller on the inside line, but there's big gaps as they're 3 wide behind them as they're coming to the glove station. White flag, 1 more lap to go. Are we going to get it, Daniel? 1 more lap to go in the first race of the season in the ARCA East Series. White flag.
White flag. We are racing back to checkers.
He's out.
Flag
He's out.
By glove station. He's out of fuel. The field is wrecking. Behind Barrett Morton, the leader. But again, we are racing back to green, a parking lot in the tri-oval. Barrett Morton still your race leader. That is Fuller, and that is Samuel Joseph on the comeback trail.
Oh,
it is
they got to
a 3-car race for the overall lead. The overall win. Barrett Morton, the only pro driver of the 3.
Barrett
side
Morton
by side down the back straightaway.
Oh, they need to get nose to tail. Yeah, Joseph and Fuller are actually hurting each other. Barrett Morton loving to see this as they're side drafting, pulling each other back. They needed to get together, and they're not going to do it.
Barrett Morton coming to the checkered flag for that Pro Series win. The AM win very much in question behind. Barrett Morton gets back to the line, and it's Fuller beating Joseph by a bumper. for the AM Division win here at Daytona.
Holy cow.
Wow, what a race back for the AM Division win. 5/1000ths of a second is what it was showing there on the scoring pylon. The difference between Fuller and Josef back to the line. It can't get much closer than that.
Watching here as they come down to the start-finish line. They were racing each other. I was worried about getting the overall win. They weren't worried about that at all as they were battling for that win. And, man, how close that was. Unbelievable.
I'm telling you, that was giving me shades of Truex and Hamlin back in 2016 coming to the line like that. A little bit of fender rub, a little bit of side draft. They raced each other pretty clean back to the line, though. Yeah. All things considered, between the 13 and the 65 there. Both Fuller and Barrett Morton going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. Barrett, you can see him there in the infield grass doing some celebration. I think Barrett may have just said, I'm just going to sit here and soak it up for a minute. Fuller, though, he's over there burning it down. I don't blame him. You win a race that close, go out there and tear up the infield grass. Give the lawn crew something to do the next day.
Yeah, man, I was sitting there hoping that they would get together. Josef, they were just kind of side drafting each other, obviously battling for that win. And, man, if they would have gotten together, they could have had something to say about Barrett Morton winning the overall race. But Barrett, just a big old smile on his face as he was watching those guys battle side by side. And, man, incredible race. Great job by everybody. A little messy towards the end, but that's what you expect here at Daytona.
To be expected with these super speedway races, always a little bit of calamity at the end. But while the drivers are finishing up their victory celebrations, we're going to take a quick commercial break here and thank a couple of our great league sponsors. We'll be back with your full race rundown, as well as a word from both division winners right after this quick break.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where we just saw a really chaotic finish, a really close battle for the overall, or not for the overall, but for the AM Series win here in the GLR ARCA East Series. Let's take a quick look at your Pro Division race results. Barrett Morton getting the win here this evening, the overall race win as well. Christopher Heiner comes home in second in the Pro Division, with Daniel Selway Jr. in third. George Jewell going to come home in fourth. Frederick Seagraves in fifth. Joseph McWhorter coming home in sixth. Jeremiah Holton seventh. His interval to the leader is still going up, so I think he may have. I think he may have actually completely wrecked out on that last lap. And eighth position, you've got Casey Jones In the ninth position, Michael Lemieux and Chance Taylor, your 10th place driver. Just 10 pro drivers here this evening making that side of the field. But let's take a look at our AM results as well. Coming home
Yeah.
with the AM win, Patrick Fuller, 5/1000ths of a second over Samuel Joseph in the second place. Mark Cofield coming home in third. Jesse Fox coming home in fourth. Jonathan Lawless in fifth. Sixth place is going to be Benjamin Richards with Chase Barkis. Nice recovery from him after that earlier incident. Coming home in seventh. Andrew Carnes in eighth. Alan Smith in ninth. Colton Sisk coming home in 10th.
In 11th, going to be Michael Jones on the amateur side. Had to come in, take that little splash of fuel, and that claimed the end of his night. And Bill Mofield going to be in that 12th position. Tyler Tillman in 13th. In 14th, going to be Claire Sisk. In 15th, going to be Tyler Evans, who ran out of fuel there on that white flag lap. And then you've got Curtis Long in 16th. A lot of new names that I'm learning on the fly here. Nick Hummel going to be in the 17th position. In 18th is going to be, it's all messed up here. What's going on? I don't see Gebbin at all. There it is, Tyler Gebbin in 18th. You got Tom Howe in 19th, and in 20th, Josh Unger. In 21st, Charles Abert, who was up front, led a majority of the first part of this race, going to end up in 21st. Jamie Libke in 22nd. Michael Krasowski in the 23rd position. Michael John in 24th. You got Edward Fiedler in 25th. Bobby Widley in 26th. Dakota Cole in 27th. And Rob Kubat round out your field.
Well, you did a good job with it, Eddie, for just learning it on the fly. So kudos to you.
Why can't we have easy names? I'm Irish. Just be Tom Smith. That's why is there not? Where's the Tom Smiths of the world? Why we all got to be wild?
Oh, that's a good question. But anyway, let's go ahead and get a word with our Pro Division winner, Barrett Morton. Barrett, this is Daniel and Eddie up in booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you were up front for a lot of the race, led 26 out of the 40 laps here this evening. Saw you doing a nice job up there controlling the field once you were up at the front. Just what was your mindset going into this race? Were you just trying to get up front and stay up there, or was it a matter of, hey, I got the track position, now let me just try to hang on to it?
Yeah, strategy was just to stay up front and get up front as quick as possible, and hope all the wrecks happen behind me, which is pretty much what happened.
Well, the strategy definitely played out for you in that aspect. The wreck's happening behind you. With that late caution, we saw you come down pit road, take some fuel on that. If it would have stayed green to the end, were you good to go to the end, or were you going to be short, and were you just trying to give yourself a little bit of insurance in case there was the green white checker attempt?
To be honest, we thought we had our bed made um, by pitting, but there was no way for me and Mark because we were both running that front line or whatever. So my foot was pegged to the floor. We were just wasting more fuel than everybody else. And a couple of other guys, especially our teammates, were able to possibly make it if there wasn't any green white checkers. So it's probably a good thing they came in as well. And it's like I told Mark, I'm like, hey, we're gonna have to be aggressive here in this restart. And if there's any kind of run, I've got to take it. I cannot sit here and wait for somebody else to make moves. So we got really lucky and it worked out. Got put in the fence a couple times, but we held on to it.
Well, man, great job working your way back up through the field after that late pit stop. You definitely had the momentum, the mojo working. And what better way to start off your season than a win here at Daytona? Before we let you go, who you want to thank, any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, Alexander PCs, Invets, everything you guys do over at V Speed, the Bandits crew, you of course. Thanks for the info and the help. Um, Alan Smith, Mark Cofield, JJ. I'm probably forgetting other people. Shoot, even Brandon Wallace. He's not even in this race, thank God. Um, so, and it's a great way to stay in shape.
All right. Well, there you have it from our race winner, Barrett Morton. Congrats, man. I'm sure we're going to be talking to you some more throughout the course of the season, but go enjoy this one.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Are you the one broadcasting this group this year, this
You're
season?
stuck with me the entire season, brother. You're
Oh, dude. I
stuck
hope
with
I get
me.
to talk to you more. This is honestly my first broadcasting or interview in ARCA, actually. So JJ didn't wreck me this time, so we're good. We got one.
Hey, the first of many. You'll be up here again.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Barrett. And Eddie, you are standing by with our AM division winner, Patrick Fuller.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it?
By the way, Brandon Wallace wins over in the West Division. By the way, before we pulled Patrick, sorry Patrick, but Brandon Wallace takes the pro win. Douglas Macedo over there in the West Side. So pretty crazy finish over there. But we got Patrick Fuller in here on the East. Fantastic race. We'll talk about the finish in a minute, Pat. But man, you started way back in the field, back in 24th, and you made it your way up towards the front to at the end. But when you start these races, are you the type of guy that wants to hang around the back for a while, or do you like to get up front early?
No, I had a really bad qual. I hit the wall coming out of 4 on the final lap. And then, believe it or not, I got caught up in like the first wreck that didn't pull a yellow, had damage, pitted, was a lap down at half point, got the lucky dog, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to ride and see what happens. The big one happened. I made it through. Then guys started running out of gas. I don't know how I'm up here, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, you had it. You had well. Congratulations on making it, making up that problem like Kyle Larson last year or at Phoenix, the championship race. You're able to work through all the problems and be there at the end. And we had all that fuel issue, drivers not knowing if they could make it. How nervous were you about that, knowing that there's guys who were kind of trying to stretch the fuel a little bit there on those last few green white checkers?
Well, I knew I was good. I knew the 9 was good. I think it was like the 828, whoever was in second who ran out. I knew he wasn't good. And then the guys behind me were good. So I wasn't concerned with fuel. I was worried about what eventually ended up happening was, that car ran out, checked up everybody. But I knew as long as I was in front of him, the 9 and I should be good.
Well, you did that exactly. Were able to get away from him as he did run out, but then you had a nice drag race, and we watched it all the way to the finish of you and Samuel Joseph. And I was on the broadcast telling y'all that y'all needed to get nose to tail and get around Barrett Morton. And then I realized that y'all were racing for the amateur race win. So y'all side by side drag racing down the whole white flag lap. Kind of walk me through that. What was going on in your mind when you took the white flag? You saw everybody wrecking behind you, and then it was just you and Joseph there to the end. Kind of what was your thoughts during that whole white flag?
9, just stay low. Stay low. I'll push you. I'll bump you. I know Samuel was going to get up there with me. Racing him last season. I knew it was going to be a drag race, but as long as I stayed in the draft of the 9, I was going to be good. And I didn't see what the differential was. It's got to be point something. We got a little touch in there at the end, but nothing egregious. So I didn't know if I had thought I had a nose, and I guess I did. So.
Well, you did 5/1000 of a second. Unbelievable finish. Great start to the season. Getting that win early, it's such a huge boost to the rest of your season. Congratulations. And as always, man, who do you have to thank?
Well, first I'd like to thank Goat Locker. Like I missed in the off season, you guys do a great job, and I really enjoyed it. Alexander PCs, Lincoln Tech Save 22, the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, InVets, and ATYL. But again, hats off to you guys for what you do, and I really enjoy it.
All right. Well, that's your AM winner, Patrick Fuller. Congratulations, Patrick. Go celebrate.
Thanks, guys.
Man, oh man. Well, hey, what a first race of the season. I'll take it. A lot of green flag racing, some really solid strategy, some little bit of gambling going on, some wrecks, some big old wrecks where we flipping on top of each other, catching the catch fence, and dadgummit if we didn't come away with some really good finishes there at the end, Daniel.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more out of a season opening race at Daytona than what we saw here this evening. You know it's going to get wild. You know it's going to get hectic. I mean, these drivers did a great job keeping everything clean up to the end. Got a little bit messy, but hey, you're going to have that at super speedways, no matter the series, no matter what car it is. You're just bound to get those big ones at the end. But what a great way to kick off the season. What a great way to kick off Daytona week. Goat Locker is back. Going to be at Daytona, all the oval series this week. As you can see there, next race going to be at Texas Motor Speedway next week. Same time, same channel, right here on V-Speed. Going to be another good one. Get back to a little bit more traditional racing at Texas Motor Speedway. But that is going to do it for our coverage here for this evening's race at Daytona in the Alexander PC ARCA East Series. So on behalf of Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkus, and everyone at Goat Locker Racing, for everybody at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, my colleague up here in the booth, Eddie Smith, with Dougie Beard cameras. My name is Daniel Cunningham. The new season of Goat Locker is underway, and it kicked off with a bang. We will see you next week at Texas Motor Speedway.